move on and we could talk about Tottenham Hotspur. Now, Paul, I'm going to come to you. What did you make of Ange Postecoglou calling out the fans in the club following some Spurs fans asking for the team to lose against Manchester City? What did you make of that whole debacle?
Listen, I get it. I understand it. But you'd never question a player or a manager going out not wanting to win a game. It's a completely separate issue. I don't think the wanting to lose a game ever was discussed amongst the players, amongst the manager. That doesn't happen. You'll never question a player's professionalism. Once you cross that white line and you're in a game, you want to win regardless. I mean, for me personally, I want to see Tottenham win. I want to see the building blocks put in place. I wanted to go into the last game of the season with the opportunity of a Champions League place still to play for. With the way that the club was, you want to get 3 points. 3 points were at stake for my team. Looking back on it, am I disappointed that they lost? No, not really, because it's not that game that was the season defining. It's the 4 games before that. It's the 2-0 at Chelsea. It's the 4-0 at Newcastle. It's the 4-2 at Anfield. If you want to stop Arsenal winning the title, go and beat Arsenal. That's the type of thing that you should think about. It's the mentality before that game that was the worrying thing. A game against Manchester City is not season defining. A 2-0 home defeat against the potential champions at the time it's not a bad result. If you get anything off Manchester City during a season, that's a decent, it's a decent turn of points. But actually, the way the stigma that surrounded the game, I understand it. I get it. As a professional player, you would never ever think it wouldn't even enter your head that your result would affect another team's title challenge, and it wouldn't affect the way in which you approach the game, or your manager's approach ever. But a fans thing. Now I'm the other side of the fence. Now in the media. Now I'm working in broadcasting and different side. You can give an honest opinion. Did I want Tottenham to lose? No, I didn't want Tottenham to lose. Am I bothered they have lost? No, not at all, because it's scuppered their chances of winning the league. So it's a double-edged sword. But as a professional, it would never, ever come into question. But I do get it, because the rivalry runs that thick. And, there's that much hatred between the two teams. And because of the Spurs' lack of trophy for so long, the longer it goes, the worse it gets. We still don't hear the end of the Invincibles. The Arsenal team now, it's getting stronger. You can see what he's building there, Mikel Arteta. If they don't win the league this weekend, they're not going away. If Pep's only there for another year, this Arsenal team, with what they've got, the age they're at, they're building, and they're going to be there challenging, if not winning titles in the next 2, 3, 4 years. So from a Tottenham point of view, I understand it. I get the rivalry. They don't want their faces rubbing in it again. It's another season for Tottenham without a trophy. It's a Europa League place. Yes, there's progression. They've lost Harry Kane. They've got a new manager, etc. There's real progression there. But at the moment, Arsenal have taken over again. They're sitting at challenging for titles, and the Tottenham fans didn't want that. And I understand it. I get that. But as a player, you would never question it. The mentality, what Ange talked about, you can see from his point of view, he was a little bit surprised. But I don't think for 1 minute that the players, the management, were ever in question. Listen, Daniel Levy wants Champions League football. Tottenham Hotspur want Champions League football. The revenue that brings, the players that attracts. I wanted my club in the Champions League. But realistically, it wasn't that result against Manchester City that cost them. It's the ones prior to that. So I understand it. I understand both sides. You never want your club to lose, but actually I wasn't disappointed.
Paul, do you think, sort of following that, what do you think it does mean, though, for Ange's future? And can you see him under any circumstance walking in the summer because of the fallout? Or actually, do you think this can be amended behind the scenes?
No, listen, I think he's done. It's finished. The type of person that Ange seems to be and the way that he comes across, he doesn't seem to hold grudges. He says he's peace and he's honest, he's open, he's refreshing, and he addresses the media and he addresses situations when it's needed. I think that's gone. It's moved on. I think it's opened his eyes to a certain set of the supporters, the fan base, and probably the rivalry between the two clubs. Listen, he's managed at Celtic Rangers, one of the biggest rivalries off the field, not just on the field, but off the field because of different things as well. And he's managed in that situation. So he gets the rivalry between two teams. But actually what he's saying is he wants to build success. Like in his previous press conferences when he first came to Tottenham, and he was asked what would success be? Would success be putting a trophy in the cabinet? No, it wouldn't be. Success would be regularly challenging for these trophies, regularly competing for the title, putting foundations. He said, I'm not here for one season to win a trophy or 2 seasons to win 2 League Cups. He's there to build a team and to challenge at the top level. And this goes in line with everything he says. It's not like he's strayed from what he's always been. He's got his principles, he's got his morals, he wants his team to win, and he wants his team to be challenging for trophies on a regular basis. I understand it, I get it, and I think that the supporters get him as well.
Pete, what do you make of the whole situation? How do you think it's going to potentially be resolved by the club and Ange?
I don't think there's anything to be resolved. I think, as like Paul said, he's a straight up talking, honest bloke. He was obviously hurt by the fact that obviously Tottenham's seasons sort of fizzled out in the last couple of months of the season. When they beat Aston Villa that time at Villa Park, Champions League qualification was probably in their hands. It hasn't worked out that way in the end. Villa have got fourth place. So, yeah, Ange Postecoglou will be hurting because Champions League qualification in his first season would have been a qualified success, I think, for him and the club in his first season at the club as well. But I think I can get his understanding of why he was frustrated and upset. Obviously, he's maybe not used to what the fans and everything else were thinking about, hoping that they didn't win so that it didn't help Arsenal potentially win the Premier League title as well. It's obviously not a great look when you see some supporters doing the posing after Man City's first goal and all that type of thing. But yeah, I totally get it from supporters as well. They don't want their biggest rivals to go on and win the title, and maybe you give them a helping hand to that as well. But yeah, for me, Postecoglou, he's been a breath of fresh air in the Premier League this season. He tells it as it is. And like Paul says, I think he's a winner, and he's almost asking Spurs now, the hierarchy, to give him the ammunition, the funds to go and improve this Tottenham side, to be challenging Arsenal and the likes next season and for seasons past that as well. So I think it was a bit of a rallying call, I think, as well, saying that maybe Tottenham are a few miles off challenging the big boys. And I think that's probably been evident in those results recently against Arsenal at home, Liverpool away, Newcastle away, and then obviously Man City away. And in all honesty, I thought they played quite well against Man City. Most people, whatever Tottenham fans were expecting, we'll just turn up and roll over. But they gave Man City a massive scare the other night, and I don't think Man City were at their best. But yeah, you can't question Tottenham's professionalism or commitment in that game. They definitely give it their all, and on another day, it might have been a different result. But yeah, I still think Postecoglou will stay at Spurs. I don't see any talk of him potentially leaving. I know there's been a few rumours of it because of his reaction after that game, but I think he's there for the long haul, and he'll be looking back in the summer to try and take Spurs that next step. And obviously, I think if they finish fifth, it's been a decent season, but when they had Champions League qualification in their hands a few months ago, it will sting a bit that they've missed out on that.
Pete, looking to success potentially for next season, sort of transfer news around the club. I mean, it looks like their Spurs might be set to miss out on 2 free agents in the summer to other Premier League rivals. Are there any other names, please, that Spurs are targeting or are going after that have validity to them?
Yeah, I think obviously Spurs will be doing a lot of work. I don't think Tosin Barrio was ever a target for them, despite speculation that he was on their list as a free agent this summer as well. Obviously, there is interest from other clubs, Newcastle and potentially Manchester United in him as well. Centre-back is an area of the team they would like. Lloyd Kelly, they do like him as well, but also Newcastle are interested in him. I think obviously Morgan Gibbs-White is a name that's been talked about at Tottenham for a while now. And obviously I think if Forest have to cash in on a big name departure in the summer to balance the books, I'm sure Tottenham could be willing to maybe make an offer for him. Conor Gallagher, been talked about for a long time as well. We all know there could be lots of obstacles to that potential deal happening as well, but it'll be interesting to see if Spurs do make a cheeky offer before June 30th. And I do think maybe bringing in a wide forward and a potential striker as well, because I think Harry Kane has obviously been missed, and you would expect that to be the case. Richarlison probably just hasn't worked out for me. He's just not been consistent enough. So maybe a move for an Ivan Toney up front as well, I think would be a smart piece of business by Tottenham. But I think Tottenham, they do have a lot of good, strong links in Italy due to Fabio Paratici and things like that. So I'm sure they'll be scouring the Serie A market to see if there's any potential new signings there. So yeah, I expect Spurs to be busy in the transfer market ins and outs probably this summer.
You've just watched a segment from Football Insider's brand new podcast, The Inside Track, with me, Lewis Pearce, alongside the guests on the show. Thanks very much for tuning in. Please do give the video a like, comment your thoughts on the topic, and feel free to share on your social media pages. If you want to listen to the full podcast episode, click the link in the description below. Keep your eyes peeled for plenty more content and exclusives here on The Inside Track.